This is the My Inner Therapist podcast. I am your host and empowerment coach, Nikole Seals. I believe the life that you want shows up when you expect it. When you take the time to gain self-awareness into why you do what you do. Whether you're just curious or you have a growing desire to be better, or you can't tolerate your life circumstances for another day, then I encourage you to take this journey with us. And like any road trip, you'll need to bring a few things. Come with an open mind, a sense of humor, and the courage to stand in your truth. We'll be standing right there with you because none of us are perfect. The goal is to laugh and learn our way to becoming our own inner therapist, to heal our wounds and create an ideal life. Join in the discussion by sharing your comments and thoughts. And if you're interested in having a free anonymous coaching session with me here on the show, you can contact me directly at hello@NikoleSeals.com. And that's Nikole with a K. Be sure to subscribe to the show and rate each episode on your favorite podcast app. To learn more, visit my website, NikoleSeals.com, for access to articles, videos, and self-help programs. You can also follow me on Instagram at My Inner Therapist or subscribe to my YouTube channel. You'll find all these links in the show's description. All right, enough with the intro. Let the session begin. We are going to dive into the topic of self-discipline and more importantly, just what the practice of self-discipline looks like and how you can really benefit from it. And helping me to do that is my very good friend. She's actually more like a sister to me. And we have known each other since grad school. And I'm not even going to get into how many years that is because it would really date us.
I know. Like, don't say that part.
I'm not. I'm going to leave that part out. So I'd like to welcome my guest, Taunya Taylor, to the show.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Taunya is a LCSW. She's a licensed clinical social worker, and she is currently working with veterans. And she also is a personal trainer, and she's a health coach, and she is a Beachbody rep, and she is a mother. And the list probably goes on, but I'm gonna hit the I'm gonna hit the highlight, the bulleted. I'm going to hit the bulleted roles. So Taunya, welcome to the show, and I'm so glad to have you here because we've been talking about doing this for some time now, and I don't think that there's any better person to have this conversation with in regards to discipline.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you asking me to be on. I'm very flattered and honored, and don't forget wife. You know, Joel would not be happy to not.
Okay, yes, wife and mother. We've got to make sure that we get that on there.
Let's get the wife part.
Because Lord knows that requires a lot of discipline.
Third child. That's the third child right there.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to have this discussion is there is a theme that has run through my life, which is what has propelled me and motivated me and helped me to achieve the things that are really important to me, and that's discipline. And you and I both come from a background where we were involved in sports and athletes, and I think that's where I learned it personally is very early on, not only in my household from my parents, but I think also, too, when you're in a team sport, it's really kind of it becomes confirmed for you by your peers and people outside of your family how important it is. And that has helped me to get myself through school, through college, through graduate school, through the MSW program, which was incredibly challenging. And then also has showed up in my personal life and helping me to achieve my health goals and financial goals. And also just, any of the things that I wanted to pursue, I had to start with the practice of discipline in making that happen. And so for me, that then becomes one of the biggest challenges that I experience in working with clients and in working with people in general is those who really struggle with the concept of discipline. And I'm wondering if you have heard this. I'm sure that you have, but I get a little nerved when I hear clients say to me, I'm just not disciplined.
No, definitely.
Because what I want to say back to them is, well, you never will be, if you keep believing in that.
Exactly.
And then also discipline is, it's a practice. It's not a state of being. It's something you have to wake up every day and practice doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I wanted to do is I want to kind of start off with you sharing with the listeners how discipline has really helped you to achieve success in your professional career.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have to totally first agree with you about the fact that sports played a big role in that. Like, if I have to think back to when it really mattered and when it really started having an impact on me, it had to be with sports. And that could be a whole nother topic, right? About just
absolutely.
Sports with children. I feel like girls in particular, because there's so many more distractions, I feel like, for female children. But anyway, I don't get off topic.
Yeah,
but
another episode.
But that structure and that, because discipline is about doing what you need to do when you don't want to do it.
Exactly.
Right? People have this idea that discipline, like people that are successful, they want to do it all the time. And I'm like, that's so far from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that at all. It's grinding. It's a lot of just monotony and doing the small things over and over again that are quite boring and uneventful.
Yeah, it's
right?
Incredibly repetitive.
Yes.
Like repetition is almost like the crucial element of discipline.
Yeah, it's so I feel first, I think your listeners have to understand to get out of this romanticizing success and like it's just this quick, easy thing, because it's not, right?
Yeah.
So then you have to ask yourself, okay, if we're just being real about it, when am I going to choose to stop being lazy? Really, right? When am I going to choose to stop being lazy and pursue whatever it is that I want to pursue?
Yeah.
And in terms of just, for me and my professional development, it's usually discipline stems from like there's an inner fire in you to do something different, right?
Yeah.
So you can have outside influences, but if you don't really at your core want that change, then it's not even, you can't even file that under discipline because you don't want the change bad enough to do what it takes to get there, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how healthy the dependence is on other external factors to motivate you to do something, because they're not going to always be there.
Exactly.
And that drive really does have to come from within.
Exactly. And that's how it was for me. Getting into social work was a personal passion and motivation because of things that I went through in my childhood. And I knew that, it was a therapist that got me through it all in my early adult years. And I knew I wanted to give that back to, other children that experienced, trauma and craziness in their life. So initially you have to have that, okay, I know I want to commit to this and I want to be successful in that. And then the rest of it, is kind of history in the sense of then you do the repetition of what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
Right. And so you and I both have spent a lot of years in child welfare. And as crazy as that was, a lot of discipline was needed to deal with the child welfare system in Southern California.
Yeah, absolutely.
LA County. Mm-hmm.
I think it's just so it's so reinforced, like early lessons that you and I had about discipline, but it took it to a whole nother level. Because you're now doing things that were at times putting yourself in unsafe situations, bringing into question your judgment and your decision-making skills, and yet waking up every day, staying committed to the goal that you had about your career and what you wanted to do.
Exactly.
And under incredibly challenging circumstances.
No, definitely. I remember I did undergrad and I was working in the group home, the residential treatment, and I'm seeing these kids come into these programs. I'm like, well, where do they come from? And I hear this thing, DCFS. I'm all, well, who are these people? Or what is this organization, DCFS? And I'm like, well, and how do I get to see what that is? And did my research. I was like, okay, I got to go get a master's, right? Because I knew I didn't want to stay at bachelor level doing that. And some people are happy with that. But for me, that wasn't my end game, right? I knew I wanted more. You grew up in a family that you want your children to be better than where you came from. Right. So it was a no-brainer for me to then go to that next level and go to grad school. And then to then think initially, okay, I'll do therapy because, this is what worked for me. And then realizing therapy wasn't it because people were still talking about this place, DCFS. And, I ended up at that place. And then to then go, okay, how do I and this again is pre-family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Discipline was a lot easier. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah.
Before other, for lack of a better term, distractions and factors, right?
Yeah.
It was being single and just dating. And then, we had our fair share of Sunday night, outings during grad school, right?
That was our therapy.
Therapy. But to then transition to a job that was very, very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of, we both had our athletic background, we were still working out. And remember, I even had like my bodybuilding
that's
moment,
right? Yes.
right?
Oh.
I was working full time.
Yes.
And I had to like diet down for the show, and I had to like train 2 times a day.
I feel like I just need to throw out the disclaimer to the listening audience right now. Taunya and I went through some things in graduate school. Graduate school took us on a roller coaster ride.
Oh my God.
Unlike anything I think I have experienced since. I had to wear glasses. I think
Remember your skin?
I think that's when I started.
You got allergic to the sun? Or...
I got allergic to the sun. I was so stressed and toxic and anxious that I developed hives and I could not go into the sun.
It was unbelievable. Like, it was unbelievable.
I was like a Powder, the kid in the movie Powder, where like he had all this sensitivity to sunlight, and like this is how critical it got for us in graduate school because I think
so to come out of that, right?
Yeah.
And this is again going back to what is driving you or motivating you to take action and be successful. I always had this desire to do that, to like bodybuild. Like I always was intrigued by the women or men on these magazine covers that were all like ripped and their muscles showing. And I'm like, I think one day I might want to do that, but I really wasn't sure how to make that happen. And my then boyfriend, now husband, one day handed me a check and was all, go make that happen. And, it scared me to death. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh, now I'm being called. Can we cuss? We can't cuss. Can we cuss?
You can cuss. Keep it to the PG-13 curse
PG-13. Okay. An SHIT is a PG-13.
We're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay. So I was all like, oh, like, damn, he's calling me on my shit. Like, now I've been saying that, I've been thinking it. And it's scary to then go from, it's this idea in your head, and then you have the opportunity to make it real. Freaked me out. I was totally freaked out by it.
Yeah.
But I knew it was something I wanted to do and I wanted to experience. And again, I mean, the repetition, not too many people want to go to the gym twice a day, and put in the time with the trainer and eat. Like, I think on my birthday, I had a muffin because I couldn't have.
Tell them about the spoonfuls of peanut butter.
Yes, I was eating spoonfuls of peanut butter because my mind was set on, I need to get on this stage and be the best version of myself in this arena, in this culture of what I now call craziness and its own eating disorder. But
that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, I know that's a little episode. So it was really crucial. Again, going back to the monotony and the repetition of stuff, even that played a big role in terms of my career and my professional development of being that focused. Because that was like some serious hardcore stuff. Like them bodybuilders put in a lot of work to look that way and do what they do. And it's a total next level commitment. And again, we're not sitting here saying that you have to go want to be a bodybuilder, but whatever those goals are that you have to be so connected to it and present to it that you'll do whatever it takes. And you're not always going to be smiling about it. Yeah. That's what's more important again.
I don't think that can be emphasized enough because I think you're right that people really do buy into the idea and myth of when they look at people who are successful and got to this place where their life is looking easy and good. They don't take into account that person had a 5 a.m. wake-up call that they hated every morning, yet they got out of bed. And they went and they ate the same breakfast over and over again every morning because they knew it was nourishing their bodies.
Exactly.
And they abstained
Exactly.
from sugar, and they abstained from alcohol, even though they wanted to hang out with their friends and drink, but they knew that it was not in alignment with their goals. Like
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
you're going to go through your day, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that you don't want to do, and that practice of discipline is just doing it anyway.
Exactly.
And you're right. That's the part that people get caught up on, is because we so want to feed into that desire to do what we want to do, or to not do the things that we know what we should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's easy, right? That's easy to slip into, and that's very comfortable. We've all been there.
Exactly. I was reading, and I can't think of his name right now, but it's a book called The Slight Edge. And, and I know the listeners are probably going, we'll get to the good stuff. What is it going to take? But he said something so simple and so profound in his own development and success, was that he too was thinking it was something outside of himself and something he did different. But what he realized is that when he was successful, like, nothing changes about what you did when you've had a successful moment in your life. Those same traits and abilities and skills that you used to accomplish whatever that was, you still use that for that bigger dream,
Right.
or that bigger goal. You still do the exact same thing. Nothing changes. And I think, again, we get caught up in thinking, well, I have to look different, or I have to do this. And you may tweak things here and there, but
Right.
the basic principles are still there, of the whatever it is, right? Like you're saying, the breakfast, or the runs, or the writing every day, you and your books, like the discipline, like that wasn't easy. You didn't always want to write.
Oh,
But you want to get the words down, because you have a message that you want to get out there. You do it anyway, but it's that practice and repetition that's going to get it.
And I think too is the acceptance that it's baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
It's incremental. Like, to go into something and expect to have immediate results, or to automatically feel better about yourself, and people want proof. Constantly looking for proof that I'm on the right track, that this is going to work out, and I'm going to achieve this goal. And honestly, I don't know if you ever get to that point, because for me, I know, like, when I've accomplished my goal and I'm feeling good about what I've done, I usually already have my eyesight on my next goal.
Right.
Because I want to take that energy to motivate me and push me even further.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fine to sit in it and enjoy it, and to love being there, and appreciate the journey that got you there. I think that that's healthy, and I think that that's good too. But at the same time, it's a very powerful feeling knowing that you and you alone held yourself accountable, and you achieved what you set out to do.
Exactly. Exactly. And another thing that comes up for me now too, being a parent, is, what example am I showing for my kids? I don't want to be a hypocrite in telling them, well, you got to do when you don't want to do, but then what I'm not doing.
Yeah, and your kids are like, Mommy, you said you were going to stop drinking wine every Friday night, but every Friday night at 5.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They deserve the same. They need to have that same mindset, but it starts with us setting the example of what that looks like. Right. And yeah, go
and
ahead.
not a lot of people really think that that's what parenting needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because parenting, a lot of the times for parents, is verbal. Do what I say.
Exactly.
And I think because you and I have worked with families and kids for as long as we have, we know that it really is about kids do what they see you do.
Exactly.
They're constantly learning. Their behaviors are coming from watching your behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what would be helpful to listeners is for you to explain to them what it was like for you being a mom and having kids and trying to teach them discipline.
Okay.
Because I think sometimes it's, we both know that it's lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that you have those moments where you're just tired, right?
You know.
Where you
We've
are,
had several.
yes, where you're just exhausted and tired, and,
Yeah.
and you know what you need to be doing, but you feel like, God, I just need a break from this. I just need to step out of this role for a minute and take a break. So can you help the other parents out there who struggle with that?
Mm-hmm.
And how
Definitely.
do you cope in those moments of where you know that, okay, this is a really teachable moment.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think that, first of all, if you have young children, the earlier the better. It's easier the earlier you start. I mean, it's never too late, really,
Yeah.
but the earlier you start, the better. And so it's like literally when they're born, it starts with their feeding and their sleep, right? That's their earliest form of discipline.
yes.
Is when to eat, when to sleep, asking that their needs get met by their, they cry or whatever and they need to be changed. That's the earliest form of discipline. So when you're able to get your baby on a schedule and not have them wake up in the middle of the night after so many months, there's your first practice in teaching them what it means to be disciplined with themselves and that self-regulation.
I almost feel like I need to have you repeat that again because I don't know. I cannot. I feel like you're preaching right now, like where there's a little bit of church that just happened right there. I can't express how incredibly important what you just said is for parents of young kids.
Yes. Again, it starts with the most basic human right of life, right? Mm-hmm. The basic need. You have to meet their basic needs for discipline to take place and to start to set in.
Yeah.
For sure. Like it just, there's no other way around that. And what that then grows into is, they're doing their independence. Don't touch this. Don't do, they're doing all these different things. And so you have to really be mindful, almost like present parenting or mindful parenting. Like you can't be in this chaotic mindset of, and thinking of all these other things you have to do and not be present for your children. Yeah. It's hard as hell. I'm going to tell you, it's not an easy thing to do. But the more I see that when we're present, when it's hard, the more we get to tap into those opportunities you're referencing, like, you're too tired, but you see a teachable moment. Mm-hmm. So you teach right in that moment. And this has come up more than once, and you know this, but example, last weekend, and Kima knows too, we're at a basketball tournament and, she's playing in this little area, but there's a bathroom, and she goes into the bathroom by herself. She ain't supposed to go in the bathroom by herself. She ain't supposed to go to the bathroom by herself. Just something just like, now, could I have lost my cool completely and just, yes, right? But I go in there, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So, like, I bang she's in the last stall, so I bang on the door as hard as I can, and I don't say anything. And she just gets really quiet. And then I bang on it again really loud, and I see her little feet at the bottom. And I think she kind of bends over, and she's like, Mommy? She goes. And she starts crying, and she goes, I just came in here to fix my shorts. She goes, and I'm all, I don't care what you came in here for. You never come to the bathroom by yourself. And I'm very real with my kids. Someone can touch your private parts. Someone can, break a bone. There's crazy people in this world, and you cannot do that. And some people think a 6-year-old don't need to hear that, but let me tell you, my Kima needs to hear that.
And you and me and every other CPS worker out there all agree and are on the same page. Like that is a conversation you need to have with their kids as soon as they can talk.
Early.
Very early on.
Yeah, this again goes to the earliness of my mindset. I remember how my mom raised me, and Lord knows I'm an only child, and and I saw some things between my parents that no child should ever see or experience. But I'd probably be considered spoiled, right? And when I think about how she probably only spanked me, I could probably count on one hand, maybe two hands, how many times I ever got a whooping. But what I remember in terms of discipline was I had the same bedtime, right? Mm-hmm. I ate at the same time. I did my homework. I got picked up at the same time. It's all those predictable things that kids need in their life mm-hmm. that lay the foundation again for that discipline that they take well into their teenage years, into adulthood. Yeah. It's those things I remember.
And you and I have talked about this as when those things are absent, or as a parent you're laxed on that, you mm-hmm. then open the door for your child to push limits.
Yes.
Because when there is no limit there, they're going to try to push or set their own. And then exactly. At the same time, when kids have more freedom than they are emotionally able to deal with. And developmentally, they're not in a place where they know how to manage that freedom and make good choices and good decisions. It causes anxiety. And it causes a lot of internal stress and conflict for kids. And so when you have kids who are anxious and kind of all over the place, a lot of it is because they haven't had consistent limits and boundaries set for them. So that whole idea that as a kid, you knew what time you were going to bed. You knew what time your mom got home, or you knew what time you had to be in the house. Like, knowing all of that reduces anxiety for kids. They know what to expect.
Exactly.
And that expectation actually makes them feel incredibly secure and safe in their environment.
And fast forward, you then become an adult that is more disciplined.
Exactly.
And can do what needs to be done to reach your goals.
It's a win-win.
And even, yeah, exactly. And even if you didn't have that, you can still create that for yourself.
Yeah.
I remember that was probably one of the things my therapist taught me back when I was like 18, 19 years old was, you know, my parenting was a little lacking, right? My external parents, but I could still be my own parent. I could still parent myself.
Right.
And that's even today, like, you still have to play that balance of, there's a part of me that want to do whatever and, you know, just sleep till whenever. But it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen because there's too little people relying on us that need us to be present and available to them on a daily basis. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Did I answer your question?
You did. And I want to ask you about something else that is not easy. And I know that in a lot of the parenting workshops that I do, and I think when I was writing the book, this is something that I really wanted to cover, and maybe the particular book, Empowered Parenting, wasn't necessarily the right book to do this. But the whole frustration, I think, that comes as a parent of not feeling like you have enough time to manage all the different responsibilities that you have and the different roles that you're performing. And I think sometimes where that gives the most is with your kids. So for you, because you have like 18 jobs, you've got so much going on in your life, you do such an exceptional job of managing your time, being a mom, being a wife, being a professional. And I wonder if you can give some tips to the listeners on how you do that as a mom, because I think that is that can be a balancing act, and it doesn't always, you know, it's one of those where you can't always keep it in balance. Something does have to give.
Right.
And how does your discipline come into play in you figuring out where the priorities are?
Right. So I was at a silent retreat about a month or so ago, and I want to say that our leader made a comment that it's not so much balance as it is harmony, because if we were balanced, everything would get the same amount of time, right? Like 4 hours sleep, 4 hours this, 4 hours. Well, that's not possible. So now I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I'm more harmonious, right? So how do you get harmonious? And in that there's sorry, my phone was acting weird. There's a feeling that you have about what you're doing. So I have to say, the first thing that comes to mind when you ask me that question is me first. If I can say that, me first.
You can say anything you want to say.
And not being selfish.
And I was just going to ask you, does it feel weird saying it because it feels selfish?
Well, I don't feel that it feels selfish, but your viewers might think it's selfish. Like, I'm okay.
But you know, and the thing is, I know you listen to the podcast, and I know you and Kima listen to it, because I'm always promoting how we need to stop looking at selfish as such a negative word. Yeah. Because in certain aspects, it's the healthy thing to do, right?
Exactly. And in this situation, yes. Yeah.
So you got to take care of you first.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to taking care of me is a non-negotiable. Like, I don't cut corners in that area, even if it means I get up a little earlier to have quiet time so I don't sleep as much, because that alone time or those moments by myself are huge. So I'm giving up, maybe a few minutes sleep, but now I can't even help it. There was a time where I would kind of like waver back and forth about it, but now it's no, even if it's a weekend, I'll go, okay, what time do I think the family's going to get up? okay, well, I'm going to set my alarm for 30 minutes earlier, even if it's a weekend, because I so appreciate that quiet time to do my meditation and, you know, check emails or whatever it is I do.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be awake and have quiet, right? Because we all have to sleep. That's not the same. It's not the same.
It's not.
It's really, and people go, oh, when I go to bed, I get rest. Okay, but that's not the same of being awake in your house and people are in your house and it's still quiet. That's a whole nother level
you
of
just get to be
appreciation.
alone with your thoughts without any kind of distraction.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that I would say that's uno number one for me, is making sure that I'm fitting in time for me, whether it's in the morning or I go get a mani and pedi, or, you know, Joel takes them to the park and I just stay home, you know, by my, whatever, however you figure that out and what that is, you do that. But part of that harmony is you can't feel guilty about it, because then it defeats the whole purpose.
You spend your 30 minutes of private time feeling really bad about yourself.
Right. We can help you with that on another show.
Yeah.
But like, if you're going to do it, you have to be totally committed and all in and understand. And I use the airplane example all the time. Put your mask on first before helping someone you love or care about. Because guess what? You put everyone's mask on first, then you're going to suffocate and die. And then nobody is. And then who's helped them? Then they don't even have you.
Right.
Because they're alive and now you gone. I mean, what doesn't make any sense.
And then we also have to, too, keep it real that when it comes to moms, the role is so expansive in a household. And I'm not at all minimizing what dads do. But I think a lot falls on a mom in not only managing the kids, but managing a household, being supportive for a husband. And now we're in this time and era where we're also working outside of the home. Like that's having a career on top of all of that.
Right.
Incredibly challenging. So to not practice self-care puts you in a place where then you weaken your ability to be good and solid and quality in all of those other areas.
Exactly. No, definitely. And again, back to the discipline part of that. You can't escape discipline.
You can't.
It's present in everything you do. And I think too, sometimes you say discipline and you think discipline and punishment is the same.
Well, because we've equated them.
Right.
Yeah.
Like how do you discipline your kids? Well, now, you know, back in the day, I might have said, I might have answered with like, take away the TV or something like that. Right. But now, you know, I'm like, well, no, you know what? I've been disciplining my kids since they were born. This is how it started. Now, if you're asking me how they're punished, that's different. Yeah, exactly. But they're disciplined every day, just like us as adults. There's levels of discipline that we have to push through and incorporate into our daily lives every day. It's happening all the time. It's open 24/7. Discipline is open 24/7. And your listeners have to understand that they have the tools already within them. They just have to start compartmentalizing them and thinking they only work over here.
Right.
In this area where they did so well. No, those same tools you used can be used over here. Right? The same tools I use to be so focused and disciplined with the bodybuilding, right, or playing organized sports, I use those in undergrad, in grad school, in, you know, child welfare and making it through that for 15 years, and now working with the veteran population and, you know, helping my team with that and everything. And then separately with, you know, the health and fitness coaching, there's discipline woven into all of that because life is too short to be lazy and just be sitting around. And I mean, we got so much to live for.
And you know what I think happens? I think people will look at that end goal and that result and where they're trying to get. And I think it's our belief about that, what we think about that determines whether or not we can be disciplined to achieve it. Because if I'm looking at weight loss as being a horrible experience and painful, and I'm not going to enjoy it, I'm not going to get to eat the foods that I'm going to eat, it's going to take forever, and then I'm going to fail like I did the last 7 times that I tried this, there's no chance I'm going to be disciplined and make this happen.
Right. You're going to keep failing 7 more times because that's what you're focused on.
I've already set up the belief system for failure. So we've got to change what we think about that goal in mind. Because like you said, when you thought of grad school, like it was it was a passionate draw for you. That was a deep curiosity, and it allowed you to feed into your need to want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And so you did it. And so the things that are become truly important to us, we make them happen.
Exactly.
And there's people out there who, it might be truly important for them to, like say drinking is their coping, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every night they make sure 6:00 they're pouring their glass of wine, and maybe they finish off the bottle, and that becomes their routine. They have told themselves, this helps me cope and get through my day.
Right.
And they practice it, and it's a repetition, and in their minds it makes them feel better.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, they are disciplined. They're using those
That's a discipline.
That's a discipline.
Exactly. That's a discipline.
They are using the same skills to do something that is detrimental and unhealthy.
Exactly.
Whereas if they applied it to something that was healthy and beneficial to them, they could achieve it just as easily as that harmful thing.
Exactly. Just like you gave the weight loss example. It takes discipline to sit and eat whatever that is you're eating that's keeping you from your goal. Because it feels good or whatever the case may be. You take that same commitment to that and flip it. Mm-hmm. It just, like you said, change your mindset. Instead of saying I have to lose whatever, be like, Stella, I'm about to get my groove back. Right. I don't know, Right. That sounds a lot better.
And two, make it something that's attainable. Like when you're thinking about it, you'd be like, you know what? This isn't about me losing 20 pounds. It's about me waking up tomorrow and making really good choices.
Exactly.
That's my health goal. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to treat my body exceptionally well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. No, definitely. And, back to your question about just the parenting part of that. And that's just what we do day in and day out, honestly. And it's not rocket science, and it's just doing the simple things over and over again with them and showing them, that you put your best foot forward, you do what you have to do to get it done and make it happen for the most part. And then I think I was saying about putting myself first, but then at the same time too, I'm showing them what it is to take care of yourself. Yeah. Right? So they see, oh, mommy's going to go get her mani and pedi, or mommy's going to whatever. Or even, I forgot what you asked earlier, but I was thinking sometimes I even just say, mommy need a moment. I can't answer you right now. Sometimes I don't have an answer and I can't intervene in that moment.
Which, your kids need to know that your attention, that they shouldn't have your attention 100% of the time.
All the time, because the world is not going to be that way.
No, because they're going to get a very rude awakening when they get outside in the reality of what is school and middle school and high school and their first job.
Yeah.
And so, you not only does that help you, but it does teach them to be respectful of other people's time, and also to look at this person and be like, they value themselves so much that they are taking time away from me to take care of themselves. I think that is such an important thing, that message you can say to somebody, but listen, all of this right here, it means something to me.
Right.
This health, this body, I need to go take care of it.
Right.
I love you too, but I need to go take care of this right now. And then when I come back in this really great mind space and feeling good, I'm going to come and share that with you.
Exactly. And it's that whole, you're saying they mirror more of what you do, not what you say. Just the other day we came back from a basketball tournament, and Kima's out here on the little walkway. She decided she wanted to just start doing lunges and squats up the walkway, just walking up and down the walkway. Just like, Mommy, look, am I doing them right? Just on her own. And I work out all the time. Do I have to tell her to take care of herself? Mm-hmm. No. She already knows.
She's already learned it.
It's not anything for her to go do some lunges just on a whim.
She's going to be 30 in a grocery store at her grocery cart doing squats in the line. Right. And not thinking anything of it.
I know. It's so funny. And, she'll waver between saying, oh, I want to be a coach like you, Mommy, or I want to help veterans like you help veterans. She'll switch up what she thinks she wants to be, and it's going to keep changing.
Yeah.
But to know that she looks at what we do and she's like, I like that's how, or that makes me feel, or I know that makes them feel a certain way, right?
But
she wants to do that.
You've also set them up to be able to achieve whatever it is that they want to do, because they've learned the formula of success by watching you and their dad. Mm-hmm. And I think there are a lot of parents out there who don't realize that they may be handicapping their child's ability by not watching them struggle and work hard. Mm-hmm. You know, I've had some conversations with parents who are like, oh, I just want them to have a better life than I did because I had to work so hard for everything that came to me. And I was like, why would you not want your kid to have that experience? Like, why would you want to deprive them of what it feels like to work hard to reach their goals? Mm-hmm. That's how entitlement comes into play, is when they don't have that opportunity, when they don't get to feel that, and they feel like it's just deserved no matter what they do.
Exactly. Jamar came down the stairs the other day, and he's like, Mommy, how come I don't have a Curry and Kobe jersey? And I was like, you know how he talks. He's not asking in like a rude way. Yeah, he's just, how come I don't have, I just, noticed. And I go, well, I said, first of all, we're not a family that just goes buys $100 jerseys. Like we just don't do that. We just don't. I said, and second, I said, I didn't even know that you ever wanted one. Right. Yeah. I said, and another thing I said, when you got your football, I think Odell Beckham or somebody he liked. I said, well, remember when you got that jersey, you earned that. Like your goal was to be student of the month. And we knew that was not a normal purchase. I said, and so we were like, okay, you get student of the month. You get your jersey. He got student of the month. He got him a jersey. I said, we're a family that is about, you earn certain types of things that you want, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, we're here to provide your basic necessities, whatever, but a Kobe or, it's your birthday or something like that. I said, so one, if you want to ask one for your birthday that's coming up in September, we can do that. I said, but the other one, why don't you earn it? If you want it, what are you willing to do? So he sat there and he thought about it and he goes, well, I could do the laundry. And I go, okay, well, let's break that down. What is that? What do you mean do the laundry? I'm trying to see, does he even understand what it means to do the laundry?
Right.
Right.
Like in his mind, that might just mean fold clothes.
Right. Exactly. And then he goes, well, I don't know what that means. I go, exactly. So let me break it down for you. That means you put them in the wash, got to wash them. You put them in the dryer, then you got to fold them and put them away. And he kind of hesitated and he goes, well, let me think about it.
He's like, oh, I did not know that involved manual labor. Let me pause to reflect on that.
Right. But there was a moment, right? There was a situation. Now, I could have been like, them things too damn expensive and blah, 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 blah. And we ain't buying whatever, could have did old school mama, right? Could have been old school parenting and done that. But now I'm like, well, that's a valid question. I mean, he's curious. He's 9. He's getting to that point where he's noticing stuff, but that's a teachable moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
He wants something more. Well, you're going to have to work for it. Some stuff you will get time to time, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to work for it.
Well, I think what we should do is, I think a future podcast would be really helpful on this topic, because you and I have had this discussion before where clientele-wise and also to just in the line of work that we do, I think we are seeing this increase and rise of entitlement among kids, and then at the same time, this really limited coping skills to be able to deal with the challenges of life. So I think it would be really a good topic to discuss about, parenting a child so that they understand the value of working towards a goal, having discipline, but then also how you just cope with the challenges in life and overcome some of those things that you feel like are out of your control.
Right.
So that's something I'd love to have you back on and have kind of a more in-depth conversation about that, because I think that could be really helpful to a lot of parents out there.
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so before we wrap up, first of all, let me thank you for joining me on this topic today, because like I said, when I, was kind of just thinking, okay, what are the things I want to introduce about her? And I'm going through the list of all of the things that you've accomplished. I was like, damn, she's done a lot of stuff. You've made a lot happen in your life, and I know it's because you are an incredibly disciplined person. So I appreciate you sharing your wisdom on the topic with the listeners today. And I wanted to see if there is if someone wants to work out with you or get some health information from you, or maybe they want to join a part of the Beachbody team, how can they get in contact with you?
Easiest way is my email, coach, COACH Taunya. I have a U in my name, you guys, TAUNYA @gmail.com.
Okay, and I'll also put a link in the description as well, so people can click on that. And they should just email and reach out to you with any kind of questions that they have?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
And Taunya, I want to once again thank you for your support. You've been a great support in me getting the show started, and also to just in doing my own practice. So I want to thank you for that. And
you're so welcome, and thank you. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. We have.
I'm proud.
I don't know if there's anybody who has been on this social work journey longer than you with me in this experience, because we've kind of had some very similar journeys through social work. But what I love is that at heart we're social workers, but you're one of the few other people out there who also has the heart of an entrepreneur and a businesswoman. So for anybody, I'm going to kind of put this out there, for anyone who themselves is interested in the field of social work, wants to inquire about what that's like, but then also too wants to see how maybe they can be self-employed as a social worker and what some of their options are, to either reach out to Taunya via email, or you can also reach out to me via email with any questions that you might have, because I think there needs to be more social workers who are out there doing business. Okay, that's it for today. Remember, you're not lost. You're just being held hostage by your old way of thinking. Until next time, friends.